Hey guys! So I've been wanting to do a series like this for quite some time. I'm pretty sure I've used that intro for so many other videos. This series is going to be digital art for beginners. More likely it's going to be like digital art programs for beginners. And this series is going to be aimed towards those who have not really done digital art at all, or maybe who have opened a digital art program like once or twice. So yeah, if you have more experience in digital art, this might not interest you very much. Of course, you are still free to watch. You might learn something, you might not. It's all a gamble. So before I start this video, I do want to point you in the direction of an older video I had like a year or two ago called, I think it was like tips for digital art or tips for beginners. I don't know. I'll put the thumbnail on the video and I'll put a link in the description below. But that video I talk more about like choosing a tablet and choosing an art program. So I really highly recommend, if you haven't watched that yet, to watch that first. And so in that video, if you've watched it, I do say that you should first start with a free art program instead of paying for something, because you don't want to pay for something and then end up realizing digital art isn't for you and then you just wasted money on something you're not going to use. So the art program you see on the screen right now is Clip Studio Paint Pro. That's what I use for my art, but that is not a free art program. So I'm not going to be doing a tutorial on this program. I'm going to be doing it on MediBang Paint Pro, which is right here in the middle. It's a program I highly recommend. I also highly recommend Fire Alpaca. Those two programs are actually made by the same people, same company, so they are very similar. MediBang Paint Pro just has more options for comics and manga and stuff like that. But there are many other free art programs you can use. Feel free to use whatever makes you more comfortable. My tutorials will hopefully be able to like reach many different programs. But anyways, let me just open this baby up. Alright, so this is what MediBang Paint Pro looks like when I first opened it. A couple of windows did pop up, kind of just to like sign up for their, I'm not really sure what it is. I think it's to use like the cloud and stuff like that with MediBang Paint Pro, but I don't use it, so I just kind of exited out of the video, out of the windows. So before I start anything, I do want to say this video in particular is just going to be about the super basic stuff. So how to open a new canvas, how to save your work, and I'm going to talk about the workspace as well. So just like superficial stuff, like super easy stuff that you need to know in order to pretty much create anything. So the thing I do appreciate about MediBang Paint Pro is right in the center, you can see right here, it tells you how to make a new canvas and how to open your canvases. And I do, like I said, appreciate that a lot because believe it or not, I do get a lot of questions from people beginning digital art on how to open a new canvas. And it sounds like something super simple to those who have experience, but I remember first having an art program like this and not really understanding that they don't open a canvas for you like MS Paint did, you know? But a lot of art programs will not do that for you. They just give you like this kind of blank space. It's just kind of like the backdrop. So you just go up to File and you go up to New for a new canvas, a new paper. I don't know how to explain it. This window is going to pop up. You choose your size of the canvas that you want according to pixels. I'm pretty sure that is the default, but you can actually change it to centimeters and inches. Most art programs will let you do that, by the way. It's going to give me a transparent background just to start with, but I can also do it with a color, and you can choose a color right here in this little box, but I choose to start with transparent. It's just easier for me. And you can actually choose paper size. So it gives you a drop down menu. And if you know paper like types, like I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's A4 that's like the most common like printing paper. I don't know, I could be wrong. But like let's say you want to print something out and you don't know which dimensions to use. They have the dimensions saved right over here. So it makes things easier. I'm just going to go ahead and make a large canvas just as kind of a practice thing. I'm going to do 1000 by 1000. Just because I like easy stuff like that. Cool. So 1000 by 1000. So usually when you open a new canvas, it's going to have this checkerboard pattern. Can you guys see that? That means it is transparent. So if you were to draw something and you didn't make a background for it and you saved it as a PNG, there would be no background to it. I'm sure you've seen pictures like that on the internet where it's like reference pictures of characters and there's no background, and if you drag it onto any picture, that will become the background. That's kind of how it works. I think it's really handy, and I think you can do some really great stuff with transparency. But if you don't like transparent backgrounds, feel free to fill it in with any color. It depends on what works for you and what works for your eyes. If this, hurts your eyes or whatever, that is not okay. Next up, I'm going to be talking about different ways to save your picture. And then after that, I'm going to be talking about working with your workspace and just kind of fixing it to your standards or whatever. So I'm going to draw something. What pen am I on? I'm on this pen, whatever that is. So I'm going to just extend this workspace out. I'll talk about that later. So one thing I do want to mention before I talk about saving is that usually when you start, let me make the background white just so that it's easier to see. I'll do a new layer. So usually when you start off, when you like open a new art program, you see how like, that's probably not a good, but like the lines aren't very smooth. I don't know if you're able to tell, like there's like little bumps like right here. It's not smooth at all. That is because it will start you off with a correction of 0. Correction is kind of just like how smooth your line is going to be. So if you click on a drop down menu, depending on the art program, it'll give you like a limited set of settings. I don't know if it's Fire Alpaca or Clip Studio Paint that only gives you settings up to like 20 or something like that. I don't remember. But in Medibang Paint Pro, it's up to 40. And if I show you the 40, which is like the highest setting or whatever, let me just get these out of the way. I'm going to show you how smooth the line is. See how smooth that is. But if you haven't noticed, I don't know if you're able to tell over recording, but the line is far behind my brush stroke. It takes it a lot longer to kind of catch up to the brush just because it's trying to make it as smooth as possible. Whereas if I go to correction of 0, it is like right underneath my brush. There's no like, I wouldn't call it lagging because that's not really what it's doing. It's kind of like on purpose, but it's like right behind my brush, but it's not as smooth, even though that's not a very good example. Whoa, what happened there? But yeah, so I would recommend just kind of messing with the settings and find one that you like. I tried just to use the one in the middle just so that it has like, it's not as far behind my pen as 40, but it's not like super bumpy and stuff. It's still pretty smooth. It's really nice. Ta-da! So I recommend just working on that. Anyways, let's talk about saving pictures. So I'm going to delete this layer. I will talk about layers in another video, I promise. But I'm just telling you just kind of the basics. So I'm going to show you the 2 different ways of saving, the 2 like bigger ways of saving. And that is saving as a final picture and saving it as kind of like a work in progress. I have this blank canvas. I'm going to say that we're going to be using like at least 5 layers. So layer 1 is just going to be the head. Layer 2 is going to be the beautiful face. 3 is going to be the bangs or whatever. Can I draw faster? Layer 4 is going to be this thing that I do to myself because I'm an owl or something. Whoop. Oh no. And then layer 5 is going to be a ponytail. If you don't understand what layers are, that's totally fine. You don't really have to as of right now. Or I'll just tell you that it's to keep your progress of your art just kind of on separate, I would call them separate steps. I would say kind of like a staircase. But layers is just to keep everything organized. So in case you don't like how something turns out, you can erase that part without affecting the rest of the picture. Let's say I don't like the face. I can just erase that and see how the eraser is going over everything, but it's only affecting what is on that layer. So that's just kind of like to show you how that works. But anyways, when you save something at a final form as like a PNG or a JPEG, if you have multiple layers, they're all going to combine into one. And I'm also going to put a background layer just to make it more obvious on why this really sucks. So I'm going to do a background layer of like a light blue. That's probably not going to look very good. Maybe like a light pink. Let's get this. Okay, cool. So this is going to be my picture. So let's say this is just a work in progress. I am not finished with this at all yet. I want to make this way better, but for some reason I get a phone call and it's my friend saying, hey, we're gonna go bowling or something. Come with us. And I'm like, cool, I want to work on this later. I would go up to File and I would click Save. And right here, I'm gonna bring this up to right there. So as you see right here, it says Save as Type, Medibang Paint Pro, and then a little parentheses, .mdp. So that means that whatever I save, it's going to remain the exact same when I come back, even if I close it. So all the layers are going to be separated, and it's going to be super easy to work on. So I'm going to save it as that. I'm going to save it as WIP, which stands for Work in Progress. I'm going to save it on my desktop because why not? There we go. Let's see up here, as you can see on the bar right there, it says WIP MDP. I'm going to close it and pretend that I'm going bowling, which is really fun, but I'm not good at it. And then 20 hours later, I come back and I said, okay, time to work on that picture again. I'm going to open it. Or actually, I'm going to show you. You can go to File and then hover over Open Recent File. And it gives you a list of all the files or all the pictures that you've worked on recently. So this is the one I just saved. There we go. And as you can see over here, all the layers are separated still, which is good because if I want to color underneath it, I'm going to color her white because why not? Oops, that is not the paintbrush. I'm going to color this baby up. See how it's not affecting the line art or anything. Everything is just super easy to work with. Nothing is being affected by it because the layers are separate. This is good stuff. I really need you to save every picture that you work on at least like once as a work in progress type of file, as a MDP or Fire Alpaca. I think is it FP? Fire Alpaca? I don't know. Clip Studio Paint. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember all the abbreviations, but usually when you save something, the default file type is going to be the work in progress type. Now let's say I accidentally saved it as a final project. So if you want to save something like as a final, not a final form, but like let's say you're completely done with a picture, for sure you can press save or save as. If you already saved something once, you're going to probably have to do save as to change the file type, and you're going to save it as a PNG or JPEG, or that's all. I mean, there's this too, but I don't know what the difference is with that. I would always recommend PNG just because the picture is usually comes out as better quality. And if you do want to save a picture with a transparent background, you do have to do PNG. JPEG will make the background like, I don't know if it defaults to black or white or something, but PNG will keep the background transparent. But if you want to save the picture in its final form, do PNG. But let's say that this is not the final form. I'm still working on it, but I accidentally saved it as a PNG. I'm going to save it to WIP 3 just because I have a 2, I think, somewhere. I'm going to save WIP 3. I'm going to press save. And luckily, very luckily, Medibang Paint Pro does tell you layers cannot be saved with this format. Do you want to proceed? This is warning you that, hey, if you continue going this route, all your layers are going to combine. You can't separate them. Do you still want to do this? Let's pretend I just can't read and I just press OK. And then right here, it'll tell you, do you want the transparent background or not? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to save OK. And I am going to close it because I'm going out bowling with my 2 friends, and I'm going to reopen it by going to Open Recent File, WIP 3, and as you can see right here on the layers, there's 1 layer, and so if I want to change anything in the picture, it is going to be way harder. Like, as I said, if I want to color her in white, it's going to go over everything because that's just how it turned out to be. And I'm going to have to work with the blendings and all that stuff to make things work. So that is really uncool. It's not fun to do. I've done it by mistake sometimes. And it will probably happen to you at least once if you're not careful. And yeah, especially with line art layer and sketching layers. If you accidentally combine them and you save them, it's going to be bad. It's going to be a bad time. But yeah, so that is 2 different ways of saving your things. Oh my gosh, this video is becoming way longer than it's supposed to be. I'm going to go over Workspace super duper fast, and then I'm going to let you guys go. I feel like this is a class, like like a classroom. So I'm going to delete this. Okay, so hopefully that was a little bit easier, or a little easy to understand. Before I continue, I do want to beg you guys, even if you are like okay at digital art already, please save your progress, save your art at least every 5 minutes. And that sounds like such a hassle, but I promise you, if you do it enough times, it's going to become a habit and you're not even going to think about it. Please save your picture every 5 minutes, because technology is not always reliable. Sometimes your art program is going to crash. Sometimes your laptop or computer, whatever you're using, is going to crash. If your power goes out, if anything happens, and while you're in the middle working on something, everything just kind of disappears, you're going to lose all that progress that you didn't save after, you know? It's happened to me so many times, to the point that I now save every other like brush stroke. I probably press the save button more than I press the undo button now. There are ways to make it easier by like making, if you have a tablet with shortcut keys, you can make one of the buttons a save key, so it's like super easy to do. But seriously, I'm pretty sure, is it Control S might be save on the keyboard? Actually, I can check right now. Let's see, save is Control S, yeah. Depending on what kind of computer you use, it's going to be different. But seriously, save your picture every 5 minutes. I cannot stress this enough. So we're going to talk about Workspace for just a few minutes, super duper fast. Okay, so this is a workspace that I was given when I first opened Medibang Paint Pro. It gives you the color window, brush preview, all this stuff. If you want to rearrange your windows, they're windows. You can, just by hovering over the title bar and then clicking it and dragging it anywhere. So I can drag it outside of the workspace, or I can move it, let's say, to this side. If you hover over like an in-between spot, it will move for you. So I'm gonna just put it maybe at the very top, and then just let go of it, and it's gonna be stuck right there forever. If you want to move, let's say, the navigator to the other side, such as so, there you go. I, however, don't like it like that. I have a very specific workspace preference, so I'm gonna put all of that back. If you do, you can actually change the size of the windows, like I've shown you earlier. If you hover over the border and you just click down and hold, you can do this if you really want. I don't know why you would want it that big, but go ahead. Or you can change the window sizes by hovering over the border, like in between them, and dragging up or down. So up, down, there we go. You can do that for pretty much every single window. So feel free to adjust things to your liking, and you can get rid of windows and add them. So let me just fix this because it's bugging me. So let's see, what's something that I don't need? The brush size window right down here. I never use this window just because I prefer just to drag my own size right over here, or type in my size. So I'm just going to exit out of that right there. I don't need it. And it's going to give space for other windows. Reference windows, that's when you want to use a reference. I'm going to go over that at another time, but I don't need that either. I don't like using it. So I'm going to exit out of that. And let's see, I'm going to drag this window up because I like having my brushes more visible. Let's see. This is pretty much the workspace that I always go for. So I am going to... Actually, you don't have to save your workspace. For most free art programs, once you exit out of the whole program and you reopen it, it's going to remain the same. For Clip Studio Paint, I'm pretty sure you have to save the workspace, but since I'm not going to use that, I'm not going to show you until I do a specific video for that. But if you accidentally exit out of a window, so let's say I exited out of the brush window. I said, oops, I accidentally pressed that button and now it's gone. How do I get it back? You see the Windows button right up here in the taskbar. You're going to click on that. You're going to look for the one that you closed. So it was not brush size, it was brush. Yeah, I think it was brush. I click on that and it's back. And if you want to get rid of something without pressing the X, you can just press it up here. So I'm going to get rid of the layers. It's gone. I want to bring it back. it's back, ta-da! And so you can go over to the windows and you can see all the windows that you have available to use. But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna go over for right now. So it's the super duper superficial stuff. So whatever's out here and how to open and save pictures. This is just to get you started on digital art. I will be making so many more videos on very specific things like the tools, how to use layers, brushes, all that stuff. But I hope this was at least somewhat easy to follow. Please let me know if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll try to get to as many as I can. However, if you are somebody who is experienced in digital art and you see a question that you can answer, please feel free to answer it. I really do appreciate when I see that. I love seeing people help each other out in my comments. It makes me so happy. So, sorry for the long video. I hope it was helpful and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye!